IG be letting me down today, but I need the people to let me know if I'm the one frozen. Let me know if I need to change location. But I still see everyone on, and Leslie seems to be frozen. So, Les, can you let me know? Maybe we need to both change location. And please, if you're on here, please let me know in the comments. That's the only way I know if I'm the one that needs to change location. Because I see people on here, but I am not. If I'm the one frozen, can the people let me know? Put something in the comments so that I know.
So I think there's some kind of...
You? Is it your network, Leslie, or is it me? Do I need?
Do you see me clearly? Do you see me clearly?
I can hear you now, but you're frozen. So can you see me clearly? Am I frozen to you?
Yeah, you've been freezing up on me too. So I know there's a storm going on outside where I am, and so I don't know if it's because of the storm we've had. You know, right now in Florida is considered hurricane season, so you know, storm season. So I don't know.
It's raining here as well. So I'm just, because I can see myself that I'm not frozen, but you were frozen. So I was like, do I need to move locations, or is it your network, or is it my network? I can't even tell.
Because I see myself clearly, and then you go fuzzy, and then you're gone, and the video ends.
Because it ends when like you're frozen and it just cuts off. It's so weird. But let's go on. I know you talked about being a digital nomad, and my question and what I want you to share with the people, how has it been? Because that in itself is a transition, being able to move and live in different places. How have you been able to manage this life change and still be present in your business?
Yeah, so the thing about moving around is you have to be okay with living small. So when we first decided to do this, we already been living tiny. And what I mean by that is we were living in 120 square foot, what they call it, like an RV. And we lived in that location in California for 3 years. And so that really tested, you know, being in such really small quarters with each other, just my husband and I had a small dog at the time. And so what I found was, because we've been moving from different places, like I said, Canada, the US, Mexico, we've been moving around. We learned how to live tiny, meaning our belongings. For me, it was like not about collecting so many things, because if you live in a home right now and you look around, I'm sure that if you had to move, you'd be thinking, how long is it going to take me to pack all of this stuff up? Because over time you accumulate things. What we've learned in especially the last 4 years of really leaning into the digital nomadic lifestyle, is that living small is not really as horrible as it at first sounded. You know, I have 2 suitcases of my clothes and he has 2 suitcases. And we recognize that it's the experiences that we want to collect. We don't need to have, you know, things, because things can be replaced. But the memories, the connections, the experiences, those are valuable. And so for us to be able to like do this live into this type of lifestyle has been really great, because I've met so many people and I've lived like a life that I only would have dreamed of, but now I'm actually living it. So yeah, it's not necessarily easy, but if it's what you want, you find a way. You really do. You find a way to actually live that life that you want.
That's amazing. So I know that you're a self-care coach, and because I know you, I know that your idea and your way that you teach self-care is different from the normal get your money petty and all of those things that we think about when we think self-care. So to that woman who is in that place where life is lifing, like to the last 48 hours, I have been like, my emotions have been up, down. I have just been like, okay, you know what? I'm just gonna, take a breather. How do you look after yourself when you're in that place of the heightened emotion, when the chaos of life is going, especially as whether you're a mompreneur, whether you're a business owner, whether you're just an ambitious person who's got a big goal or a big plan, how do you navigate self-care?
Two things. And I know one of them truly actually is about letting go of that control. Because I think we all, especially if you're a woman in business, if you are someone who is trying to go after certain goals, you could be in that place where it's like, well, if it doesn't go a certain way, then, I have to see all the pieces fit together, the puzzle. And it doesn't always work out that way. And when you allow yourself to let go and not let control be part of the equation, and you allow yourself to let go from the outcome, even though you know what the outcome you would like, if you just let yourself be free of that outcome, you can actually enjoy the process. And it's a learning experience for me too, because, self-care isn't a one and done. It's not like you go through one thing and then you're done and you're great and life is, all roses. That's not true. Self-care is an everyday practice. And so, especially in those moments, there's two things, as I was saying, is learning to let go. But the other thing is really having a community. I have an incredible circle of women in my life that I can go to and lean on. I feel like I'm doubting myself, if I feel overwhelmed and I don't have the answers. And that's what's so great, is having that community. I really truly believe that's so important. To me, community is an essential self-care tool that you should have. You were talking about those, I call them like those, the pretty self-care tools, like the mani-pedis, going out for lunch, buying yourself a gift, celebrating you. That's great. You should do that. Those are things that you should be able to celebrate yourself with. But how you should also look after yourself daily is making sure that you have those essentials in place, like taking yourself, right, meaning exactly, community. Making sure that you take breaks daily. Especially if you're in something, you're in the moment of, you're in creation mode, or you're at the beginning of creation mode, you want to make sure that you take those breaks, because when you're like really excited and wanting something to like happen, and you're like right in the beginning, you're excited about this, it's something brand new, you're working towards it. If you don't make sure that you take those breaks, if you don't make sure that you take care of you risk burnout. And so you don't want that to happen. In fact, I'm actually going to be doing a workshop around burnout. It's going to be in August. And the first stage of burnout I'm going to talk about is the honeymoon stage, because that's when you are extremely excited about something and you'll find yourself pushing through and you're ignoring the self-care moments of taking those breaks. Having those hard stops at the end of your day, so you spend time having that alone time for yourself, filling your cup. But if you have a family, you want to make sure that you're nurturing those bonds, because those bonds are so important. And, I've seen a lot of families, they get torn apart because they're not nurturing them. They don't continue to nurture those bonds. The kids grow up, they move out, and then they go their own ways and they start living their own lives, and they kind of come together, but then they're not as close. And yet I see other families that recognize the importance of that. Not only is it community with the people in your life that support you, but community in your family, making sure that you have those bonds, because those bonds can last you a lifetime, and those memories that you build with them can last you a lifetime and fill you up, fill your cup, as another form of self-care. So getting your nails done, those types of things. But they forget that taking care of you from the important things, like what I've just mentioned, and even learning how to say no. That word is powerful, but it's also a way
Mm.
for you to honor you, because then you are allowing yourself to be open to say yes to the right things. Now, you might not think like, oh, learning to say no is a self-care moment, but it is. Because if you don't say no, what do you end up doing? You end up overwhelming your calendar. When you overwhelm your calendar, you overwhelm yourself. You can get yourself all anxious and, even leading to burnout. And I'm speaking from experience because I used to be this woman that would constantly say yes to everything because I was so excited about what I was doing. But I wasn't doing myself a service. I was actually
Mm.
hurting myself. And some of the women that I've spoken to over the last couple of months, as well as some of my clients, one of them even ended up in the hospital because she didn't take notice to take care of herself because she was giving from an empty cup. So it's really important.
Wow. I mean, coming from a recovering yes woman, I totally, I mean, I agree that sometimes the yes that we say to people, it's actually our recipe or our actual burnout, and we don't recognize that ourselves, especially when you're navigating life, being a mum, being a wife, being a sister, being a friend, being everything to everybody and nurturing everybody and filling their cup. Whereas you're actually not refilling yourself, you're feeling from an empty cup. So learning to say no, which is something that as a recovering yes woman, I am actually learning to say that, because like you say, when your first stage, which is the exciting phase, comes, you tend to do everything. So my next question is, being a recovering yes woman and having to deal with a lot of burnout as just being an entrepreneur or just going into, I know you've been a coach for a number of years, what advice would you give to that new coach who is a yes woman or a recovering yes woman and is dealing through burnout right now? What can she do right now to move herself from that place to a place of a more healthy self-care?
It's really having that clarity about what you want. So you can have that bigger picture, and that's great. Everyone has a life vision or a spiritual vision. They have a mission in life. There's things that they want to do. And that's great. You can have that bigger picture, but allow yourself to let go of, having to control everything and do everything all at once. And allow yourself to just work on what actually lights me up in this moment in my life that I want to work on right now. Out of everything that I have that I would love to do, what do I want to work on first? And then allow yourself to just be all in about that particular thing only, nothing else. Because here's the beauty of doing that. There's been multiple times in my life where I thought I wanted something, and I ended up, after letting myself let go of that and working on specifically what was in alignment with me today, for example, when I allowed myself to do that, I opened myself up to something better coming along. Because a lot of, if you've looked over your lifetime and there's things in your life that you wanted to do, and some of those things just didn't work out. And as you went through life and then you look back, you go, oh, you know, take that opportunity to do something. I may not have had that amazing aha moment that something lights me up even more. You're opening yourself up to other opportunities. It's always like that saying, this or something better, and being okay to, again, just be doing what is in alignment right now. I know the word alignment gets used a lot, but if you have like a goal that you're working on and it's part of a bigger picture goal, just work on that goal and work on it until you achieve it. And then look at the next step. And does it fit in with your plan? If it does, great, work on that one. If it doesn't, look at your plan and see, what is it that I would love to change? What else is being revealed to me? You know, life is so beautiful. It's like this huge puzzle, and you get to put it together your way. It's your life. I always say self-care isn't about doing everything the way everyone else does. It's what fits your lifestyle, what fits your schedule. Some of you are moms. Some of you are not moms. Some of you have grown children, so you have more time on your schedule. Some of you might be caregivers to your parents, so your schedules might be smaller. Whatever that is, make it work for you. That's why when you say I do things differently, it's not only to the respect of looking at the essentials of self-care, but also making sure that you understand as a person that your self-care does not have to look like mine. As long as you're making sure you're taking care of you by recognizing that you don't allow yourself to go down that burnout road, that allowing yourself to have quality time with your family and your friends, by allowing yourself to focus solely on what is important right now and not saying yes to everything, and being able to like take care of your body through making sure you get a good night's sleep by setting yourself up for that, by getting those hard no's. When you do that, you're taking care of yourself the best that you can. You get the best of you. Like that's number one. And then everything else and everyone else in your life does as well. So if you look at it from that respect, you're going to have a more joyful life. But look at it from your life. How does it fit into your lifestyle? It might be Mondays, you have an hour to do you want to meditate, you want to journal, you want to go for a walk, you might do some yoga, whatever that looks like. You have a couple hours on Monday morning. But say Tuesday, you only have 30 minutes. So what does that look like?
I mean, this is such amazing. The one thing I picked out of what you just said was letting your self-care fit into your lifestyle. Because a lot of times, as we navigate whatever change that we're going through, or agendas for ourselves, most of the time we want it to look like X, we want it to look like Y, especially like for startup businesses, people who haven't been in business for that long. You want your business to look like someone else's page 1,000 maybe, and you're just in page 10. And you're busy burning yourself out because you're looking so much at the reflection of a 1,000 page that has had a whole years of putting that into the work, self-care into the works. And that leads me to the next question, is that for a new business owner, how do you maintain your momentum in your business whilst you are, navigating every other thing in your life, for you to know that, oh yes, I am doing self-care, assimilating it to my own journey, but how do I keep the momentum going? So again, I don't get to burn out, but also limiting belief, because when you burn out, then you don't have confidence, and then you start doubting yourself and comparing yourself. So what can she do to get through with the momentum?
Yeah, I mean, it's not easy to be an entrepreneur, because when you work for someone else, as an example, you have structure. You have your hours that they tell you work, they tell you what you do, and so you know that that's what you do. But when you become an entrepreneur, you have to now learn, what is my day going to look like? How many hours am I going to work? What am I going to do? Like, what does that look like? What am I going to do on any given day? What am I working towards? I think the best thing to do, especially if you're starting out, is look around you. I'm sure you have people in your life that you admire, that are already in business, that are working in business. Watch what they're doing. Ask for help. Ask them questions. Like, how did you first start? It's really important to get clarity. And the way I look at getting clarity is looking at, like, having I guess, writing down, first of all, the things that you like to do, and the things that you love to do. And then looking at those things, what are your skill sets around those things? What lights you up? If you find that something that you like or love to do can actually make an impact on someone else's life in the world, usually that's how people get into coaching. Is they go through life and they actually overcome something, and they're able to start helping other people. For me, I was first a mindset and emotional awareness coach because a lot of what I had to deal with in the beginning was I went through a lot of trauma as a young girl, and I needed to work through that. And a lot of that what came from mindset, a lot of it came from learning to be emotionally aware of my trigger moments and how I responded to those. And so it's really finding what you do and what you can help someone do. So if you're a branding coach, for example, maybe that's because you have a background in that, or you find that you love to help other people figure out how to show up. And if you don't have all the answers of how to do that, make sure that you're not saying yes to everything. This is what I did in the beginning, which I would love to be able to help your viewers not do. In the beginning, what I was as a young and new onto everything, I call it the Alice in Wonderland syndrome, where I chased every rabbit down every rabbit hole. I signed up for every webinar, every workshop, every challenge. I bought a lot of digital products. A lot of the challenges, webinars, and workshops I never attended or I never finished. A lot of the digital products I bought and I never looked at or didn't finish. And I ended up working with coaches at the time when I wasn't ready to work with them because I didn't have clarity on what it is that I wanted to do. And if anything that I could keep your viewers from doing is make sure that you know exactly what you want to do. You can change, because I changed. I became a self-care coach, which embodies everything around mindset and emotional awareness, self-love, all of that. It embodies all of that. But in the beginning, if you have something that you want to do, make sure that you flesh that out really in its entirety, but don't be saying yes to everything, because all you will end up doing is overwhelming your calendar. It can lead to burnout, which, as I said, I went through many times, and many times after burnout, I wanted to quit doing something that I love. And so you don't want to end up there. And that's why I say, if you don't have that clarity, if right now you find yourself spinning your wheels, stop and figure out what it is you really want to do. And I'll provide you with these questions, Ella, after we finish talking. There's a series of 17 questions, 12 which were given to me, and I came up with 5 more questions to help my clients figure out their life vision and their mission statement. And it's really powerful to go through these questions. I've done it myself because it helps you then to get more clarity on what it is you want to do. And then you can see a starting point of where to start. Like, okay, this is what I want, and these are the things that I want for my life. And it's a really powerful way to start, to get you to that next, to figure out, okay, well, if this is what I want to do, how can I make this part of that happen? And you just focus on one thing at a time so that you stay in momentum, so that you stay moving forward. You don't want to be all over the place doing everything every day. And then you learn to structure your days, structuring your weeks, because you want to make sure that you're not doing everything every day. You want to be able to have those days where maybe it's just client outreach, maybe the other days is networking, maybe as we've done. Maybe there's days that are about creative process, creating. But it's just I just want to be able to help you so that you don't that doesn't lead to burnout for you, because it can happen. And again, like I said, a lot of people don't recognize even just the honeymoon stage of burnout is really where you're so excited about what you're doing that you have your head down, and before you know it, you've stayed in front of your computer for 8 to 10 hours. And not taking a break. And if you do that enough, you're going to end up in burnout.
Oh my God, this is just speaking so much to me, and thank you for that opportunity to have those questions, because I believe I'm gonna put it in the comments or in my stories afterwards. So make sure that you tune onto the stories, and you're going to see that, because I think that it's so important that these questions we really ask ourselves, especially when you're starting up, especially when you're going through life in whatever stages that you might find yourself. And we all agree, like all my guests that we've had on this series, we've all agreed that you need clarity. Clarity is like the key to everything. Once you're able to have that peace in yourself, and then the next thing is, how do I get clear so that I'm not everything to everybody and everything, even standing in my own way, like being a hindrance to my own self because I'm busy doing so many things. So I'm so grateful that you came and you talked to us and you showed us a lot of things. So many things I wrote down, even though the internet be attacking us, but we made it in the end. So thank you,
Oh, you're
Leslie,
welcome.
for your wisdom. Thank you for sharing with us. So I've taken so many alternative, like the mundane self-care things that I know about from actually just knowing you even before we've had this conversation has allowed me to think of self-care in another way. And I hope that people start to think about self-care in this way and know that, number one, fit it into your own lifestyle, because my self-care is different from your self-care. But the whole notion of it is that we all need to first of all find a community, and then get that clarity so that you are able to prioritize things. What is the last thing that you would say to, let's just say one of our audience was your client, and what would you say to them to let it be a sounding board for them as they carry on doing navigating life, whatever life they're navigating? They might be even a digital nomad like yourself, moving along places,
No,
and to balance that out so that again.
yeah, so what I would say is just allow yourself to make mistakes, learn from them, grow, look at what worked, and look at the things that didn't work, and then figure out, okay, how can I make those things better? And then the second part to that is extend yourself some grace. It's really super easy for us to beat up on ourselves. And we'll do that to ourselves more often than anyone else will. It's not about being perfect. I know I used to be, I'm a recovering, if you will, perfectionist, people pleaser. And I think it's just learning to be able to say, you know what, this is something that I did, and it didn't work out the way I wanted to, but what did work? And being able to be okay with that and learn from that. Don't and extend yourself that grace, because it's really super easy to get ahead thinking that you're not good enough or worthy or deserving when things don't work out. But if you can look at it as just a learning experience, another way to actually go back to the drawing board and figure out a better way. Like even Thomas Edison, when he had tried, making the light bulb, and he's saying, for him it was 10,000 ways that it didn't work. That's the way he looked at it. So he could have given up. No, I don't know. Someone else may have come along and created what we now know as light. It's just like all of the people that came before us and created these amazing inventions of like being able to travel, internet, being able to speak from parts of the world. If someone had decided, you know what, it's too hard, and they gave up, you're not always going to get it right the first few times. And make sure that you don't give up on
Mm.
yourself. Surround yourself with that, like I said, circle of people who have your back with no judgment, and they will help you when you get into those moments. And one of the other things I think I would add to that is something that I've been doing with people in my circle is I'll tell them my wins, so that when I get into this frame of mind where I'm doubting, they'll remind me of all that I've done before. And that's a great way to lift you
Mm.
up. So do that for the people that you know, and have like allow them to share their wins with you, so you can be that supportive voice for them, and vice versa. Do that with them sharing your wins, so they can be that supportive voice for you when you get in those moments.
Thank you so, so much. I've written them all down. Give yourself grace. It's not about perfection, just progress. Celebrate your wins. You get yourself an amazing community so that they can lift you up in those times and remind. Thank you so much. Even the internet be interneting us, tech be technology in us, but we made it because Jesus took the wheel. So I'm grateful. Where can the people find you?
Yeah, so you can find me here on Instagram, but the way my name is spelled is different. I don't know. I was playing around with my name, but it's Lesligaudet. You can find me here on Instagram, or you can find me on Facebook, but I do spell my name E. I'd love to connect.
Amazing, amazing, amazing. Do you have anything that you'd like us to share? What can you share with us? I know that you have, you guys, she's just an amazing self-care coach. If you are like in that burnout phase, or you're thinking I'm heading there and I need to talk to someone, you better go run to Leslie now. So what can the people get from you right now?
Yeah, if you hop on over to Facebook, you can find or also in my bio, in my Facebook profile, you'll find that I give free self-care assessments, and I also am giving away a free self-care guide. And in the assessment, you just spend 30 minutes with me, and we'll go over your self-care, what you're doing right now, what's working, what's not working, how you can course correct, and you'll also I'll forward you after our call a comprehensive report about everything we talked about, so that you have it and you can see it, like what's working, what's not, and how you can actually make it better to help you, support you. As I said, it's your life, but it has to be done your way.
Yeah. Thank you. Amazing, amazing. I'm so grateful for you. Thank you for hanging out with us today. I really appreciate it. We've come to the end of this session, but it's not the end of our conversation, because I'm going to be bringing you back, because I feel like you're the most amazing self-care. Like, before I met you, I thought of self-care, like getting myself a little mani-pedi, but now I'm like, no, Ella, you have to be more intentional about doing self-care and doing it for you to fit you. And so that's amazing. Thank you so much. I do appreciate your time, and I'm grateful that you still stuck with me, even though the internet be interneting. But thank
Okay.
you.
It's been great.
Yeah,
Thank
have an
you.
amazing day, Leslie. Thank
Thank
you.
you. Bye.
Bye. Oh my God, that was such an amazing session. If you didn't hear anything from there, let me do a little recap like I always do. We talked about self-care, and self-care being the fact that you are not just doing self-care to please somebody else. You're doing self-care to fit into your own lifestyle. Make sure that you have an amazing community to keep you accountable, to hold your hand and lock hands with you and support you. Make sure that as you navigate transition, life change, give yourself grace. It's not about being perfect, but it's about making those small little changes. Make sure that you focus and prioritize. Do things in little chunks so that you don't get into that place of overwhelm, and make sure that you get clarity. Being clear allows you to have peace, allows you to have movement and action towards that goal. Even though that chaos might be happening, if you notice that we have been struggling so much with technology, like internet, like the last 24 hours, 48 hours for me has been really, really stressful. And I really had to stop and reflect and not let it get the best of me, because I would be sitting here tonight if I let everything that happened behind the scenes affect me, or really at that level of emotion that I was in, really stopped me from having this amazing guest that we had today. So make sure I would be putting Leslie's self-care handout in the comments. So look for the comments after the live is over. But thank you for hanging out with me for another week of the Untold story, where we use our stories to transform the life of another woman, because your story is someone else's transformation, like we always say here. So thank you for hanging out with me. Until next week, take care of yourself. Make sure that you're putting yourself first, and don't let anybody tell you less. You are unique, you are valid, and your journey is definitely valid. I'll see you guys next week, where we have another amazing woman telling us her untold story that we learn, we glean, and we practically move forward from our own mistakes by learning through the stories of another woman. Have an amazing night, amazing day, afternoon, morning, whenever you're watching this. And if you're watching the replay, let me know, replay gang, and I'll see you guys next Wednesday. Bye guys.